Hi, my name's Jeff Booth, and I'm just doing a quick video about the 50th anniversary of the CWI and how I got involved with the CWI way back in the early 1980s. I was in Boston, Massachusetts, after spending some years working in factories in upstate New York, around Schenectady and Albany, where I'm from, here in the U.S., and I ended up going to college in Boston, and after college, I was sort of doing a lot of, couldn't find a union job like the factory jobs I had in upstate New York, so I was doing some retail work, low pay work in stores and so on, and constantly looking around for a left group to join. When I had been in the bakery workers union in the factories, had a little bit of exposure to workers that were considered themselves communists or socialists, but they didn't really talk about it that much. I didn't really run into socialism until in an organized way and in a sort of theoretical way until actually I went to Boston for college, and then after college working these low-paid jobs. And I was at a union rally, actually, even though I wasn't in a union at the time, that I met someone from the CWI. It was very, very small in the U.S. at the time. And this person, Marcy Barnett, who worked in the African Studies Library at Boston University. And we started talking about anti-apartheid struggle at the time. And we ended up meeting and talking about socialism. I'd been doing a little, like I mentioned earlier, checking out the left, doing some reading. And first thing Marcy gave me was the Transitional Program by Trotsky, which I had never heard of. And it really resonated. It really seemed like a way that I could sort of talk to workers by connecting, immediate demands with demands that would take a serious revolutionary struggle to achieve, but were necessary. And even though it's a methodology for mass organizing, it seemed to, in my mind, to kind of fit with discussions I was starting to have with workers in the Boston area. And so I ended up joining the CWI organization here in the U.S., which was very, very small. I'd say about 20 people around the country. And but immediately I noticed something. The orientation of what we called ourselves the Labor and Trade Union Group at the time, and then pretty soon after that, Labor Militant. Orientation was to workers, was to unions. In my experience in the Bakery Workers Union and winning our strike, I had a pretty positive view of unions. I ended up being a member of the United Electrical Workers soon after I joined CWI, and I was on the executive board of the Boston local. I was able to use the ideas I was learning through the CWI section, and also visits to Europe for conferences and congresses in my union work, and I found it way beyond what the rest of the left was working on. Even though we were very, very small, most left groups in the U.S. were either completely dominated by students, or they were very much underground. Like the U.S. Communist Party, which was quite small, they've been supporting Democrats for decades, going to places where there were CWI sections and meeting individuals in the CWI. I saw the beginnings of an international, revolutionary socialist international with a lot of workers involved, and that really impressed me. In fact, one of the first things I went to in England, I think it was, a conference or a congress, I met comrades from South Africa that were working underground in the anti-apartheid struggle. And they were the sharpest Marxists, the sharpest socialists I'd met. Up until then, I was trying to learn as much as I could, and what I had a lot of discussions with left groups in the U.S. prior to joining Labor and Trade Union Group, the CWI section, or Labor Militant, and they really didn't impress me nearly as much as these South African, black South African comrades working underground in the anti-apartheid struggle. It was absolutely brilliant. Soon after that, I went to Liverpool when Militant, precursor to the Socialist Party, had a lot of influence, had 14 councillors elected on the Liverpool City Council. Thatcher was in power, the miners' strike was going on, there was a lot going on. The work in Liverpool just impressed me even more. It was just incredible. Liverpool, a socialist council, was up on the lampposts, banners, posters. I was given a tour by Sam Bond, who was a comrade that had a position in the city government, and we went around and I went from branch meetings to meetings that were much bigger, and met a lot of trade union activists. Saw the quote unquote war room, a room within City Hall that comrades were constantly working the phones and talking to people and campaigning for the big protests, the big movement, and all the gains that we helped win in Liverpool, the housing and the daycare centers and all the other social benefits that were won by that struggle in the teeth of the Thatcher regime. And that was incredibly impressive to me. later the poll tax struggle, also incredibly impressive. And we try to learn here from the work of the comrades in Britain and in the other sections of the CWI, and that's really helped us a lot. In the Independent Socialist Group, the current section of the CWI, in the US, we're in political solidarity with the CWI, and that internationalism, to be part of a coherent, ideologically and organizationally coherent international, is something very unique over here in the United States. Most groups here are not really affiliated with international. If they are, it's usually a loose coalition. CWI has the outlines of a real revolutionary socialist international, and that's extremely valuable perspective, knowledge, and helps us in our work when we're talking to people about why they should become revolutionary socialists. In a lot of ways, Trotskyism is the real hope for humanity. No guarantees again, but to be able to avoid the mistakes of Stalinism and ultra-leftism, and to be able to move forward with revolutionary socialism in a way that the average worker can be part of, that's an amazing leap forward for the United States. It will be.